billion. Bret, curious from you, is it a good idea, good deal?
This is a little bit outside of my area of expertise. Not that should keep me from speaking about television.
Television, you can't say the words "I don't know."
Yeah, I did feel the price tag was fairly high. The thing that I believe is the part that I don't understand that could really justify it strategically is the content side of their business. Right now, iTunes was the thing that drove the adoption of the iPhone. It's really the sort of basis through like all their media services go. And if you believe that they're also going to be investing more in Apple TV over the next few years, building up the content side of their business is extremely important. And that's one area where Beats had a bunch of really strategic people in particular, and my view is that's sort of what the underlying justification
And since
is.
Dre answered the phone, that would lead us to believe he's not actually inside WWDC. There had been some speculation he might be the musical performer coming out on stage at the end of this, but I guess we probably shouldn't hold out hope for that. But Joe, what do you think overall of the Beats deal?
So I don't know about the money. And honestly, I live in San Francisco and rent an apartment, which means I have no perspective on what a lot of money is. But I think it's a smart buy. A while back, Apple got a patent on headphones that work a lot like health activity monitors. Making headphones is hard, as you know from Apple, who has a track record of making pretty miserable headphones on their own. Beats aren't the greatest headphone in the world, but they've learned a lot, and especially from their first iteration, which was junk, they've started making decent quality hardware now. And so Apple's going to gain a lot of that learning. Also, Jimmy Iovine, probably the most powerful man in music, the only way that Apple got iTunes to work was Steve Jobs went and bullied everybody into signing up with him. I don't know that Tim Cook is going to go, to Nashville and bully the country scene. But I can see Jimmy Iovine intimidating some people into playing with Apple.
What about the culture clash, the possibility of a culture clash?
That's going to be interesting to see, and I don't know how that's going to play out. But I will say that the sort of product culture of Beats Music is similar to the product culture of Apple, which is that it's not trying to do exactly what everybody else is doing, but it's seeing how the other companies didn't really work out and trying something a little bit different. The way that you can tell Beats Music what kind of a mood you're in and it builds a playlist for you, I think that's super cool. There's some really smart programming on that, and I think it can only get better with Apple's know-how.
You do see them investing in people to get cool, right? They hire the head of Burberry in a look of possibly changing the way some of their stores look. They hired Dre, importantly. I mean, I was thinking about the fact that, right, and let's be clear.
He says he'll do whatever it takes for Apple.
Until he gets his $400 million earnout. If he stays after that, then I'll believe it. But I think that, it'll be interesting to see. There was a time when Apple used its headphones, just the white dangly cord, as its marketing message to say, we're cool, we've got these white headphones. Now the coolest headphones out there are defined by the fact that they're not those white earbuds, that you've got Colin Kaepernick or you've got Kevin Garnett going into a stadium with those Beats headphones on, and that's what cool is.
I also think that even though I'm sure there are cultural differences between the companies, Beats is unique, or is very similar to Apple in the sense that it's an aspirational brand. It's priced on the high end because of that. And I think that's very similar to Apple's product. You can go get a very cheap Android phone, or you can get an iPhone because you want people to know you have an iPhone. And I do think that Beats headphones are very spiritually similar in that regard. And I think they've given themselves the ability to price it at a premium because of that brand. And I think that is really aligned with the way Apple likes to make products, the way Apple likes their margins. And so I think it is very similar in that respect.